Yo, what's going on, everyone, and welcome back to another video. Today, we'll be taking a look at that Michigan State football victory, opening game, opening night, home opener for the Spartans as they took on Central Michigan. And after a really rocky start, they were able to get the job done and win by 24 points, 31-7. Sorry if I sound like really weird. It's not the audio. It's because I'm really sick right now. Like I have a really bad cold in my nose. My nose is like super stuffed up, so my voice probably sounds really weird. So sorry about that. But so we're gonna take a look really at just some of the breakout players, just players that exceeded expectations. We're gonna be taking a look at the biggest winners, biggest losers, and then just overall takeaways as well. And we're just gonna be going through some of the highlights and kind of talking about certain things that went really well. So let's go ahead and get started. Starting out with that Nate Carter, nice little 30-yard run to get started up the season. And we're going to talk about him actually later. First, so to start off the video, I guess we'll kind of just go through the game. The first half, pretty rough. I mean, we were actually losing at one point. We only scored 3 points in the first 28 minutes. And, against a Central team like this, there's no excuse for that. That was pretty bad. Noah Kim kind of had a rocky start. He had a couple receivers drop some passes, and he actually really didn't look that bad, but he actually really impressed me. We'll talk more about him as well, but man, I mean, he didn't start the greatest. The offense didn't look the best. Failed fourth down right there on the first drive, giving Central Michigan good field position, and that ended up leading to them driving down the field, and we would end up stopping them on a 4th and goal after giving them a first down. I mean, I don't know how we kept them out of the end zone, but great defense. We'll talk a lot about the defense as well because, man, they had a pretty good game today, except for a couple parts. But so the first half, like I said, nothing much to really talk about there. Just kind of disappointing. I think, after that first half, I was really starting to question whether or not I even wanted to attend a Michigan State football game this year, because I just bought tickets for one or two, and I was thinking about going to this game too, and I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I didn't go to that, because being down, and only scoring 10 points in the first half, it's just like, against a team like Central Michigan, you got to do better than that. And so yeah, so towards the end of the first half, last 2 minutes, our offense kind of took flight. We got to see guys like a couple guys break out, like Jaron Hall, the wide receiver, that kind of just like, honestly, I kind of forgot about the guy, and all of a sudden he has 2 huge catches that help lead us to our first touchdown of the game. So that was huge for us, as that put us ahead going into the half. Our defense started to look a little better at the end of the half. Our offense kind of started to click, and then the second half comes along, and man, just like right away you could tell the intensity was like a different level. I think Mel Tucker did a great job with second half adjustments. I mean, he did a great job with second half adjustments and making sure that this team came out firing in all cylinders, and our offense looked so much better. And I was super pleased with how our offense looked. I did not think we would look all that great, honestly. I thought it would be mostly our defense making plays, and our defense looked great as well. But man, the offense was really what impressed me the most, I would say. So yeah, second half, we got firing all cylinders, had some nice plays, some huge catches. Tyrell Henry and Malik Carr had some really nice catches. Couple good runs as well, couple good plays defensively, and the Spartans get the win 31-7, which I projected them to win this game 38-14. So 24 points, they win by 24. I'm pretty happy with that. That's right where I think they should be. So yeah, overall, actually, it ended up being a really good game. It's just that first half, something that I took notes of this game. I took a lot of notes of this game, and one of the things that I wrote down for like the overall takeaways, and I'll read the rest of them later, but one of the things I wrote down is a good second half. If we play like we did in the second half, like throughout the whole season, every single quarter, every single half, every single game, we could go 9-3. Now, if we play like the first half, every single quarter, every single game, we will go 3-9. So that was one of my takeaways from this game, was just how much of a difference. I mean, it was like, this is like the definition of a tale of two halves. Like, the first half was just not good. Second half, we started clicking. Receivers started, not dropping passes, and then bam, instantly just looked like, a top 25 team. And again, I know a lot of people are probably going to frown upon that statement because, oh, it's Central Michigan. This isn't even barely a Division I school. This is, this team might be lucky to make a bowl game, and they're in the MAC conference. Like, yeah, I get that all. It's kind of like, I don't really know how to describe it. I know it's not a big deal, beating them by 24 points. Most people would probably think, oh, you should have beaten them by 30 plus. Really, no. I mean, if we would have had a better first half, we would have probably beaten them by like 40. But this is the first game of the season. I don't know if you guys remember last year against Western Michigan when it was like 21-17 in the fourth quarter. I remember I was at that game and I was like, what the fuck is happening? Like, well, how are we almost losing to Western Michigan? And then all of a sudden, fourth quarter, we started clicking. We ended up winning by like 18 points. It was like 35-17. This game looked a lot better than that game. I think that just this game was just the first half was all it was. We started out kind of rusty, and then we kind of clicked and then started getting going. So yeah, sorry if that took a while. That was just my overall thoughts on the game and kind of just a game recap. So now we're going to get into the biggest winners. So I wrote down the 3 biggest winners for looking at, Michigan State, offense, defense, coaching, or just position group, whatever. So I wrote down my 3 biggest winners, and number 1 on the list, Cal Halliday. That guy, high expectations for him going into this year. Probably going to be our best defensive player, him and Jacoby Windman. And he had a huge game. He had the interception, which was huge. Stopped Central Michigan from probably scoring, 3 or 7 points. And so that was huge. He also had a sack, a bunch of tackles. He's a tackling machine. Last year he had 10 or more sacks in every game. Tackles in every game, and I think he's probably going to do that again this year. I don't know exactly how many tackles he had, but I saw him making tackles left and right, so honestly he probably had around 10. I have no idea how many he had, but I did see him get a sack, an interception, and a few tackles, and yeah, he looked good. He looked really good. He is showing that he is probably a top 5 to 10 linebacker in the country. And then I don't know if you watched my Michigan State football preview video, but I did say that I think that Cal Halliday is probably going to be a second-round pick this year in the NFL draft. Probably won't be, but I think if he has a good enough year and Spartans are good enough, I think he will be. So Cal Halliday, number 1. He looked great. Number 2, the run game. How about Nate Carter and Jalen Berger? We'll start with Nate Carter because, man, I'm excited for him. In my Michigan State preview video, I was wrong. I thought Jalen Berger was going to be our starter. I did not think Nate Carter would be. But Nate Carter definitely, I think, deserves that role. He looked really good. He had, let me check my notes. He had 18 carries for 113 yards. That's 6.3 yards per carry. 1 touchdown. He also had a catch for 21 yards. That's a good game right there. Even against Central Michigan, over 6 yards per carry. That's Kenneth Walker stats. Super excited to see if that guy can continue that throughout the season. So he looked really good. I was really impressed by him. Jalen Berger. Running, he had a couple really good runs, and then he had a couple where he got stuffed. He had 8 carries for 24 yards, 3 yards per carry. And then he had 4 catches for 30 yards. That's 6 yards per catch. That's pretty good. He had a really good game. He also had a touchdown. So I was super impressed with the run game. Compared to last year, our run game, you look at the year with Kenneth Walker, our run game was the whole reason we even win 11-2. So for our run game to kind of be looking better, I'm kind of excited. I'm really hoping it stays like this the whole year, because with a good run game, anything's possible. So super stoked to see if we can continue that. We'll see what happens with that. And then number 3 for the biggest winner of game 1, Noah Kim. He, like I was talking about earlier, he had a rocky start. He didn't look the best. He had a couple really bad passes, and a couple that were dropped by receivers. And then all of a sudden, the dude stepped up. He stepped at the plate. He was 18 of 31, 279 yards, and 2 touchdowns in his first career start as a Michigan State Spartan, the redshirt junior. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. He looks really good. I'm actually really impressed. He looks super good. I was really happy. He reminds me exactly of Peyton Thorne, the way he plays, the way he throws. Everything about him just reminds me of Thorne. Maybe even more potential than Thorne, because honestly, he looks like he's got, similar arm, a similar like stature or whatever you say. And I think he might even be a better runner. He didn't really showcase that tonight. Thorne was a pretty good runner as well. This dude can move. And he definitely in this game looked better than what Thorne did all of last year. And not saying that Thorne was horrible last year, but definitely was not great. So if Noah Kim can keep this up, guys, I mean, no interceptions either. That's, for a debut, that is a really impressive performance. I was super happy. If he wouldn't have started like 1 for 5, he could have had like 66% completion percentage with 300 yards and maybe even another touchdown. So super impressed with him, super happy with him, and hopefully he continues that. Very happy with Noah Kim. All right, let's go to the biggest losers. Starting with number 1, Jay Johnson. I don't understand why this guy is still on the coaching staff. Back-to-back 4th and 1 bad calls from the shotgun. We were going for the shotgun on 4th and 1. On 4th and 1, you should never be calling plays from the shotgun. I don't care what kind of defense they're in. You should not be calling plays from the shotgun on 4th and 1 or 4th and short in general. So I just kind of wrote, need better play calling from him. We looked better in the second half, so I'm not going to talk too much about it. But Jay Johnson should have been fired last year, if I'm being honest. So the fact that he's still on the team kind of makes me mad. That's the only thing I've ever really questioned Mel Tucker with, was keeping him. Scotty Hazelton I was questioning him last year and the year before, and then we didn't get rid of him. And then towards the end of last year, he looked a lot better, and the defense looked good tonight. So I'm not going to question him for that. But Jay Johnson, I don't like him. If he can maybe show me something next week, and especially that Washington game, maybe I'll change my mind. But we'll see. So I'm going to fly through these last, a little bit as the game is coming to an end. Malik Carr had a couple bad drops, but he also made up for it with a touchdown. So I can't really say that he was bad, but I'm not saying he had a bad game. But we need more production from him, a lot more production. Trey Mosley as well. He's wide receiver 1. We need more production from him. So Malik Carr and Trey Mosley were the last two for disappointments, I guess. Trey Mosley also had a couple drops. We just need more production from him for being our wide receiver 1. But yeah, so that was pretty much it. We're gonna go over a couple more things real quick. So overall takeaways, good second half. Like I said, second half team probably will go 9-3 if we play like that the whole season. First half could go 3-9. So cleanup, catching, that was a big issue. That kind of that was one of the biggest reasons we struggled in the first half. And then we need to contain the QB better, because that quarterback, mostly in the first half, he was running all over us, making us look silly. But just a great game overall and a great win to start off the season against Central Michigan. Very happy with him, with how he played. Other impact players that kind of broke out. I think I said Jaron Hall earlier. That was my bad. I meant Jaron Glover. I don't know why I said Jaron Hall. Jaron Glover was the guy who had that huge drive. It had a pretty good breakout performance. Jacoby Windman, he struggled a lot. I didn't see much of him, but then he ended up having a really good game. I was impressed by him. Need to see even more from him though, being one of the better defensive players in the country. We'll see if he can continue to do well. And then the D-line in general looked good. I think we had like 6 or 7 sacks. That's really good. The O-line was pretty good, better than last year, so I'm very happy with that. And then how about Tyrell Henry? Showtime. What a catch he had, and a great game from him as well. So that is going to wrap
very
up
happy,
this
and I
video.
think we
Thank
got a
you
future
so much
star
for
with him.
watching. I really do appreciate it. Leave a thumbs up if you feel like it. Subscribe if you feel like it. And I really do think this game kind of helped me feel a little better about this season, and I'm hoping that it can be a better year than last year. That's all I ask for. So thank you guys again so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.